This tutorial is designed to show you how to grade assignments inside Google Forms, quizzes, and other assessments that you've created inside Google Forms that you have sent out through Google Classroom. So when you go to your form, you will see the number of responses that you have up here on this tab. If you click on this tab, it brings you to the responses page. There's a couple of things you can do here. For one, if it's a test and you don't want kids taking it at home or some other time outside of the room or outside of acceptable conditions, you can actually turn your responses off. That means it will not let students, if they click on the link, it will say this form is no longer accepting responses. So I use that a great deal on tests so that students don't take them at home or take them at some time other than the class period. One way that you can go about grading is by question. The other way is by individual, by student. So by question, it pulls up a menu where it starts at the first question. In my case, my first question is always their last name. So if you open the drop-down menu, you can see the list of questions that were asked. Of course, these are ungraded. I'm not grading these, but we can go ahead and go to the first short answer. Now, it gives you the question, what is Orangefield's mascot? You can view the answer key if you have put an answer in there, which if it's multiple choice, you really need to have coded the answers, or if it's check boxes or something like that. So I can just click yes, you got it right, and it will give all the points. Then it asks if you want to save the edit that you just made. Sure. It is a bobcat. Again, correct answer, complete sentence. So you can click the green check mark, and there you go. The next one, they got the right answer, but they have an incomplete sentence. So rather than just a straight check mark, I want to put half credit off. Now, before I move on to the next question, I'm going to go ahead and save my edits. The next question was multiple choice, and for that reason, it's automatically grading it. I already had the answer choice chosen as the correct answer, so it's grading it. But let's say that you realize that you ask a question in a way that allows for two answers instead of one, or you want to extend some more credit somehow. You can override it by marking it correct, and then it will add that. Despite the fact that it marked it wrong, it will mark it correct. It understands that. And then you can save and go to the next question. Again, multiple choice can grade automatically. The next question is a check. That's the check boxes. Multiple choice, they can only choose one correct answer. Check boxes, they can choose multiple answers. In this case, where it's completely correct, where it doesn't assign a grade is here. And there's a good reason for that, because there were 3 correct answers in this check marks. They had to choose all 3, and it was worth 3 points. Well, they chose 3, but one of them was incorrect, and it doesn't know how many points you want to give that. In my case, I'd say, well, they got 1 wrong and 2 correct, so I'm going to go ahead and give them 2 points, but I could see an argument for only giving them 1 point as well, because they should have checked this one and they didn't, and they shouldn't have checked that one. Now, here's the thing. If you don't click save and it has not saved that data, it's going to give you a warning message so that you don't lose that data. And I'm only grading 4 students, so it's not a big deal, but if you've graded 50 of these, it's a big deal. So it's nice to have that reminder there. Moving on. This is where it gets a little bit difficult. This is uploading, where you can upload, students can upload an image or a document as an answer. And certainly, again, that's on my longer video about setting up Google Forms, and there's a timestamp for that if you just want to go straight to that question, that type of question. So here the student did an incorrect operation. Rather than multiplying, they added. So I've already added the comment here, but basically it's just a matter of you just grab, you don't have to hit any buttons, you just grab wherever you want in the image, so you can highlight, and then you can type your comment. Now here's the drawback to this, and hopefully eventually Google will catch up with this idea. This was an uploaded image that they sent to you, so they don't have access to this version of this image, so they will not see these comments. In order for you to get the comment back to them, the only way I know how to do it is for you to share this image to them. So you'd click on the three dots, and then it will bring up the share panel, and you can start typing in their names. So and you can select the name. You can then type in a message as well if you would like to as well there. If you don't want them being able to edit, you can maybe put them just as viewer or just as commenter. And then you send it back to them via email. If you're doing a lot of those, then that's independent emails being carried back and forth that you're doing. That's a bit of a drawback. So I would definitely only do that on missed answers and not on every kid. It's not perfect. So here you see the student, I'm the student, got this back and that in their email, and they can open it up and look at it. And then they can see the comments. So you either do that immediately and the kid gets the comments right then, or you go back through and individually send them to the kids all at the end of your grading, but you have to do it individually, and I'm not a fan of that. If I ever figure out a better way to do that, I will certainly let people know. I'll close that out. And you continue on grading until you're done. Some people will want to grade by individual and not by question. I think individual maybe works a little smoother than by question, but that's my perception. So here we are looking at the first student who submitted, Miss Penny Perfect, and she is marked as wrong. Again, she's marked as wrong because she didn't type it exactly as I did. That is a drawback. You cannot really do short answers. Even if you tell students, just type one word, just the one word, they're going to do weird stuff. And I've just never had success with that. So in this case, I'm looking at it going, no, I want to make sure she gets credit, and I'm going to credit her that, which I had already done in the previous example. Now, but this is a case where I uploaded multiple questions where they had to work them out, and the student then did their work, answered these three questions. And remember, again, if you want to make a comment, you just hover where you want, click down, and drag, and it will open up a comment for you. And then once you do your comments, you go to the three bars and you can share those back with students to their email. But that's a way maybe you can not do it question by question if you just wanted to do like their whole page and not have to work through that. Now, If they got it all correct, I'm going to put the number of answers. There were 3 questions. They were 2 points apiece. So I'm going to say 6 points. Now, you don't have to save each time. You only have to save when you're going to leave the entire page. I just have a bad habit of doing that. How does that get back to Classroom? Here's how it gets back to Classroom. If you have loaded it into Classroom and you have set it as a quiz, which you should, make it a quiz, then it will report the grades back to Classroom when you order it to. So you can release the scores to the students here, and in this case it will pull up a menu, and if you've graded all of them, you can release it to all students, and then you can send the email and release the score. So how do you get that into Classroom? Well, I don't have an active class right now, so I went to an old retired class, and I went to the front page and I picked an assignment at random, but you would not be, of course, doing that. And in this column here would be all the student names listed, either sorted by status, by first name, or by last name, whatever you decide you want to do. It sorts by status naturally. So you would have a list of all the students in this class, how many had turned it in, and how many still were waiting. You were waiting on them to do it. So if you've got it all graded, you can import grades from the form right here. So you just press this button, it gives you this message. If you had put grades in already, it will overwrite whatever grades. And then you just click import, and it will go in and import. Of course, there's no students in this class, so it's not gonna, I can't show you that. One of the potential drawbacks for students, though, is this right here. If your test is say 25 points, you had them marked as 1 point apiece, and you had 25 questions, it's going to change this from a 100-point scale to a 25-point scale. So it's going to show 20 out of 25 or 23 out of 25. If you wanted 100-point scale so you can put it in the grade book, you need to set the Google form up that way with its point values. There are other grading programs that you can use in conjunction with Google Forms that will do it more automatically for you, but they have their drawbacks too. One of them is Flubaroo, which I'm going to be doing a video on, but it has some other drawbacks. So as long as you've got a form that's on a 100-point scale, or you don't mind, it'll import it into Classroom. You don't necessarily have to release them from Classroom or from this form. Once you import it, you could actually import it first and then select all your students and return here in Classroom. So there are 2 ways that you can return graded forms. If you have any questions, or I didn't answer any questions, or you need any help, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to take the time to help you out with any questions you have.